Hello again, and welcome back to the Flyin Style podcast. I'm your host Matthew Mitchell, back with my beloved co-host Stephen Masley
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
in all his Eagles gear over there, the swole Batman shirt. I'm just now noticing
This is so
the
tight. I'm
Eagles
getting like
hat.
bigger.
Can you tell this guy's ready for the season?
I'm excited, dude. It's only mid-June, but I feel like it's already August, and time's flying. It'll be here before we know it. So, uh, I'm excited for it to come.
First of all, I just want to start off by saying sorry that we've been a little bit, inconsistent with our posting. We've been a little bit, busy with some new jobs, some new stuff in life. It's been getting a little bit crazy. Not to mention it's the off season. So we just, we've been a little bit inconsistent, but from here on out, we're definitely going to try to get more content out to you guys and make sure we stay consistent, give you guys weekly updates, and keep you guys posted on what's going on with the Eagles. So
Sure.
starting today, we want to, we're a little bit late on it, but we wanted to get our chance to talk about the draft here. So, obviously, looking back at the draft, round to round, we drafted Jalen Carter with our first pick, and Nolan Smith with our second pick in the first round. We drafted Tyler Steen, an offensive tackle, in the third round. Sidney Brown, a safety, in the third round. Keely Ringo, a cornerback, in the fourth round. Um, Tanner McKee, a quarterback, in the seventh round here. Sixth round, apologies. And Moro Ajomo, who is a DN from Texas, in the seventh round. So,
You can't forget about acquiring DeAndre Swift too.
of course, and obviously, as many of you are already very aware, the Eagles did acquire DeAndre Swift for some draft consideration during that draft. So, overall, including the DeAndre Swift acquisition, how did you feel about this year's draft, and what kind of grade would you give it?
I don't know how you could get better, honestly. We were projected to get both Carter and um Smith with that ninth or with the 11th pick that we had, and we moved up and got Carter, which is a great move. He's just going to be like a basically more athletic, like Hargrave, perfect type of guy to like try to like plug him in there. He might even be the best player in the draft if it wasn't for his character, quote unquote, issues. Um, Drafting the entire Georgia Bulldogs defense basically just kind of helps because like you see that Dean and Davis are at Carter's draft, and seeing that just like it's like put a smile on my face because they're all together. Like they already have camaraderie, so they're gonna get over any obstacles. And like even Dean, like I don't know if you mentioned it during OTAs is starting now. Like he's got the headset on, running the defense. So I think like him and Nolan Smith. I think Nolan Smith's honestly gonna be better this year. I think he's gonna be better starter because I just think he's gonna be sick off the edge. But I really like the way he plays. But Carter might be the best prospect in the draft if it wasn't for all the QBs that had went earlier on. Um, Down the draft, I wanted Ringo. Like I thought Ringo was a top 5 corner in the draft. I didn't think he would ever slip to the fourth round, which is just amazing to see. And then I've been hearing a lot of great things from Sidney Brown. I didn't know anything about him really, but he seems like he might be able to make a starting role on this team. I don't know much about Steen at all, if I'm being completely honest, but overall, like I can't ask for anything better. Like we could have got we they were projecting us to get like these guys like so much earlier. Like even like the first initial drafts before the news about Ringo's stuff came out was maybe we wanted took Ringo with the first, uh, obviously very early on, but was a first rounder. So like I can't complain. I have to give it an A. Like how can you complain about this draft?
No, agreed. I mean, if you look at just Nolan Smith, Keely Ringo, and Jalen Carter, those are three guys that I would have been okay with taking in the first round. And we got all three of those guys. So to me, this was an incredible draft. I also have to give this draft an A to an A plus. I don't want to sound too, biased by saying it's an A plus, but this is probably the best draft I've ever seen the Eagles put together. I mean, this was a weird draft process going into it because there were so many different options for the Eagles to go. There was not a direct need for the Eagles team. So we were very unsure about who they were going to pick, what direction they were going to go. And I think that they really played it as perfectly as it could have gone. I mean, a lot of people expected us to get Bijan Robinson, and when that obviously didn't happen, he got taken super early. We still went out and grabbed a top-tier running back in DeAndre Swift.
Exactly.
The fact that we made that move up for Jalen Carter, who could have been the top prospect in the draft. And while we're on him, I really just want to put out there, I'm really sick of the whole, character, the character allegations and whatnot, because people got to give this, I don't want to say give this kid a break, but this was a kid who, first of all, took no part in the murder of his teammate. This was two people making their own decisions and racing, and things went south. Obviously, in that situation, I don't know what I would do. I don't think I would run away, granted, but this is a kid who's about to be a top prospect in the draft, who made a stupid kid mistake, and it could have ruined his life, and he was scared. I get it. I understand where he was coming from as a human being, and I don't think that this has anything to do with his character and who he is as a person. He was just they were celebrating, having fun. It was right after the championship. They were at the top of the world, feeling like they were invincible, and things went south. And, I hate to see that he gets so much blame for the situation, because he shouldn't receive any blame for the situation. Well, I shouldn't say any blame, but very, very little, because obviously he was a part of the situation, that you can't take that away, but he took no part in the actions that his teammate did.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can't. No one can put themselves in his shoes at the time. Like, everything he's going through, just in life in general. It's people. It's so easy to judge. Oh, I would have done this in this situation. Yeah. Looking back at it, 2020, yeah, I would have drafted. It's not even about football anymore. But I'm just putting it in football terms. Oh yeah, obviously would want Justin Jefferson over Jalen McNeil. Obviously you want to do this, but or just in life when you make a decision, it's not oh yeah, it would, yeah, obviously probably the right thing to do would go back, but would that save his buddy? No, unfortunately, should he have raced it all? Probably not, but he didn't know that. They probably done it before, probably done it multiple times, probably wasn't the first time doing it, didn't think anything of it, just having fun, like you said, and unfortunately it happened. And I think just being, I mentioned earlier, being surrounded by these guys that were leaders on his defense in the past, and having these friends, they know it's not his fault. I'm sure the Eagles done extensive dive into how he's feeling, what he's going through and everything. I'm sure it's not easy, but apparently he's been there on time every day during OTAs that he's been required to, and he's looked decently good. So I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I just, it's a shame the way things went down, the way things happened, and, all prayers and thoughts out to that player and his family. And, I don't want to downsize the situation or seem insensitive in any way, but all I'm saying here is that looking at that as a character flaw towards Jalen Carter, I think is excessive. At no point have I seen him be, an asshole or, disrespectful or, not show work ethic. I haven't seen, that's what I consider a character flaw, not a mistake that many, many people out there make, that just happened to go, a lot more south than, initially intended. And unfortunately those things happen, but, I really did just want to put that point out there that I don't think that there should be questions of his character based on that event. So with all that being said, to get away from the, the more downtrodden side of it, that was a great pickup by the Eagles. I was a little bit concerned picking him up only because of the weight of the situation going on in his life. And I was kind of worried for his, his mental health more than his, skills. But like we said, he was supposed to be a number one pick in the draft if it wasn't for so many QB needy teams. So that was, we went up and grabbed the maybe best player in the draft at number 9, was it?
Yeah.
So that was an incredible move by Howie. Then you move on to Nolan Smith, who was probably the best pick in the draft because we obviously all expected to get him at 10. And he made it all the way down to 30. And that was just a blessing. I mean, he's exactly what the Eagles need, an edge rusher. He's fast. He's powerful. Not to mention, like you said, with these Georgia guys, he's coming in with guys who he already knows how to work with, has team chemistry with. And I'm probably most excited about him coming out of the draft. I've seen some good things out of him. I've heard good things out of him out of OTAs so far. He looks impressive. And I expect him to probably be a starter on the opposite side of Hassan Reddick come season time.
I think it's just going to help us so much. I think it's going to help like old, not no disrespect, but old ass Brandon Graham. Like it just like it'll just give him more reps. It'll give Brandon Graham more reps at 100%. I'll give him more reps at 100%.
Brandon Graham has proved himself already. He doesn't need playing time to get proof that he's of who he is and how he plays. He's actually probably going to appreciate having some time off and being able to rotate in and out.
That's what I mean. Like it's just going to give him time to be on the sideline and breathe, and like then have another guy. You're like, oh, like our D line's going to be disgusting.
Exactly.
If all goes correctly.
Unfortunately, our veterans are not getting any younger, and we got a lot of guys in a draft situation where we weren't in need of specific positions. We went out and got backups and depth for these veteran guys, and it was a really well played draft by Howie, and I've been real slow with my intro here, but obviously Keely Ringo, I thought he was going to be our pick at 30. So the fact that we got him in the 4th round was incredible. He did have a few, he fell in the draft according to Rappaport due to a shoulder injury. They got flagged in the pre-draft process and some character considerations as well in his regard. And he had his work ethic questioned. That's something that I don't think we have to worry too much about. The shoulder injury is one thing that can, injuries can derail anybody. You never know. But he's going to have some of the best training in the world in the NFL now. And on top of that, he's playing for the Philadelphia freaking Eagles, man. They're not going to not let him work. Not to mention that he's going to have all his brothers around him that, he's not going to have some, veteran guy that he doesn't know walk up to him and start disrespecting him and telling him to get his work ethic up. He's going to have Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis and Nolan Smith to come up and be like, yo, brother, like, pick it up. We need you to step it up here. Mm-hmm. And that means a lot. He's definitely, I hope that he takes a step and we can use him because I thought that he was a really exciting player at Georgia and had a lot of potential. And, he's the kind of guy that, we see Avonte Maddox get hurt very often. I'd like to see him, taking some reps in the slot. So hopefully we get to see a lot of him. And then finally, I just want to talk about, I'm not going to talk about the lower end. I'm not going to talk too much about the 6th and 7th round picks in McKee and the DN from Texas. But I am going to talk about Sidney Brown, the safety that we picked in the 3rd round, who is apparently playing really, really well in OTAs and the rookie training camp. He's apparently impressing a lot. He's moving around. He's flying. He's also just jacked. He just looks like he's really in shape, man. And I'm hearing great things about him. And like you said, he has a good chance to be a starter come season time. So, and then not Jackson, my apologies. Tyler Steen, the offensive tackle from Alabama, first of all, from Alabama. It's a good start.
It doesn't get better than that.
And second of all, he's a guy that, like I said, he's veteran depth for our other guys. Lane Johnson isn't exactly getting younger. He's a lot older than people give him consideration for. I think he's 33 or 34. And he's been, as much as he's a beast and probably one of the best Eagles players of all time, he's gotten hurt probably, I think, the past 2 or 3 years now. He's starting to get towards the end of his career here. And I think that he's going to be the guy to take the reins from him, hopefully, and sit behind him for a year or two and just get a feel for, what we need to see out of him. So I think he'll be a good piece. I think there's even a chance he might get inserted at guard by the time we move Juergens back over to center, because I think Juergens is going to be our starting guard this year. So a lot of options here, a lot of good moves by Howie, a lot of good position picks. And yeah, A draft for me.
No, and then another point I just want to make about Sidney Brown is I didn't realize how good I knew Witherspoon he's the other corner that got drafted from Illinois, but Tertavius Martin, he got picked in the second round. He's playing on the opposite side of Witherspoon. Um, I just think it's going to help him so much that he had experience playing with like elite corners, like elite like college corners, because we do have Bradbury and Slay. So just him playing with elite corners, like being able to trust guys, like he's going to be able to trust Slay. Like he's not going to be able to, he doesn't have to like jump anything. He just knows his role. Like if he's playing with those type of guys in college, it just to me seems like I know they kept using the term for him at safety, the best pure safety. Like type player, and that's what we need. We don't need a guy we don't need. I mean, obviously, it would always be nice to have like Malcolm Jenkins or a guy that's going to fly to the ball, like it's going to fly down, like blitz a little bit and everything, like do everything. But if we just need if he can be like a just do his job type of guy, just cover that half of the field. Like I feel like with our D line and our elite corners already, like I just feel like he's going to fit perfectly if he does start. But
No, I agree. The Eagles have a history of guys that they kind of look for at safety, and like you said, you kept hearing that he was the best, overall safety, like the best, like complete safety, and when they say complete safety, that means a guy that's gonna, that can cover in the back. Obviously that's what most people expect out of safeties. They're good coverage guys. They're good safety blankets. But what a true safety does is they're going to get up, on the line of scrimmage every once in a while. They're going to throw some blitzes at you. They're going to tackle well. They're going to fill the box when they need to, even be sitting in linebacker position. And when you look at safeties that we've had in the past, not a whole lot of guys that we can go off of, but you look at Brian Dawkins and you look at Quentin Michael and you look at Malcolm Jenkins. And that's the kind of guys that we loved and appreciated at the safety position. And I think that's what they're hoping this guy can fill in those shoes with. Obviously, those are big, massive shoes to fill, so the expectations aren't exactly that high. But that's the kind of safety that the Eagles have always implemented into their system. They don't want a guy that's going to be, a coverage specialist. We don't need that. That's what we have Slay and Bradbury for. Mm-hmm. We need a guy that's going to come up and make plays on, filling in his spots on the line, hitting his gaps, just like safeties, and being in the right position. And I'm very excited to see what he does. Obviously, I haven't had the chance to watch a whole lot because it's just an OTAs, but I think he's got a lot of potential.
No, and even if he doesn't start right away, I think he'll probably start around like week 6-ish. If Edmonds and Blankenship don't pan out, they're going to get probably first dibs because Blankenship did show up last year, and Edmonds is a guy's been around the league. So,
well, right now I know for a fact that that Blankenship and Edmonds are taking the first team reps. That's not a big surprise. He's Brown has barely even seen the playbook at this point.
Yeah,
but it's definitely going to be an interesting battle here because I think that they're definitely going to have a little bit of a position battle there to decide who's going to play. And like you said, Terrell Edmonds is a veteran who's been around the league for a while. He knows what he's doing. He's a safe option. Reed Blankenship, on the other hand, is a guy who's a little more raw, a little younger, but he has a ton of heart. He flies to the ball. He moves around the field. He's a very energetic player, and he's somebody that I think they really appreciated the spark that he brought in when he got his chance last year. And if you ask me, I think that if there's anyone that's going to lose their spot, I think it'll be Terrell Edmonds. I don't think they want to move Reed Blankenship out. I think they actually really want to groom him and keep him along for the ride. So I think that once the season comes around, you're going to see Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown back there. But obviously, that's going to be up in the air. It depends on Sidney Brown's development from now until the season starts. So we will see.
Yeah, dude. It's going to be hard to fill. I mean, I'm excited. It's going to be obviously we lost Hargrave, we lost Kaiser White, we lost TJ Edwards. Obviously, we lost CJ, but I feel like this team is if we live up to our potential with Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, I feel like we haven't. Our step back could be a lot smaller if Morrow and Dean like pan out to be like if Dean panned out to be like what I personally think he is, which is like I have too high of expectations. Like it could like the fact that he's already calling plays, that's just awesome. Like he's sat behind PJ last year. I'm excited for this team. I don't. It's
You say possible step back. I say possible step forward. I think that this team is debatably built better than last year's team. If you look at the offense, we didn't lose much on offense. We lost Miles Sanders over there, and we replaced him with DeAndre Swift.
Rashad Penny.
Yeah, and Rashad Penny. We did lose our guard, and for some reason I am Sayamalu. I was about to blank on his name. We did lose Sayamalu, but I think that we're just going to plug in Juergens, and I don't think that's going to be a problem. And I think that people are really underrating how important it is that we just got DeAndre Swift because he gives the Eagles something that they've always wanted but never had, and that's a running back that can catch passes out of the backfield. And I think we are going to use that a lot. I think you guys should gear up and get ready for that because we're going to run a lot of read options, a lot of screens, a lot of options to possibly just dump it off to him in the backfield and let him run out in space. If you ask me, hot take right now, I think you see 1,500 all-purpose yards out of DeAndre Swift this year. I'm personally thinking 900 rushing yards and 600 receiving, but I might be a little bit over-optimistic. But that's just me. I think that he's going to thrive in this system. And if you put him next to Miles Sanders, I think that, to me, based on watching both of them, regardless of their situations, I think that you could put DeAndre Swift a whole league above Miles Sanders in terms of his skill sets.
The only thing is his injury concern. That's going to be the only thing that's ever held him back his entire career.
It is a concern, but I don't think it's as big a one as people make it out to be. First of all, he's only been in the league for about 3 years, I think, maybe 4. This might be his 4th year going into.
Yeah.
He has not been in the league very long, so the whole injury-prone thing is excessive, already, in my opinion. Second of all, yes, he got a little injured last year, but when he came back, they never even really gave him a chance to come back. They kind of just, they had already let Jamal Williams take over. And on top of that, that's why we got Rashad Penny. They're gonna be splitting time. I don't think so much as he was with Jamal Williams, but I think you're gonna see Penny be our third down back most of the time, and Swift will be our main guy. I don't think the injuries are a big concern to me. And to me, I think that, I'm just, oh man, I'm so excited to see him in that offense because I think out of just about any running back in the league, he might fit our system the best out of every running back in the league outside of Christian McCaffrey, So I'm really excited for the way he's going to fit in this system and the way Sirianni's planning on using him because I think he has a hell of a lot of potential in this system. And I think people are underrating the fact that he's going from the way he produced with the Lions to the best O-line with one of the best receiving cores and one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He only has room to be better than he was. It's obviously aside from injuries.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm incredibly excited to see how he's going to turn out, and I think that he's going to be a freaking monster. But to go along with all that, obviously this branched off of me saying that I think that we're a little bit better than we were last year. If you look at all the spots that we lost and gained, we lost Hargrave. We replaced it with Jalen Carter. We're going to have Jordan Davis back. We got Fletcher Cox back in depth. I don't think we ever had any problems with our edge rushers, but we only added to that by getting Nolan Smith. And our team is going to be lean and mean off that line, and that's going to be exciting. I think that Nakobe Dean is going to be much better than TJ Edwards and Kaiser White have ever been. Granted, I think we're still missing that second guy. I don't know who that second guy is going to be. I guess it might be Sean Bradley.
It's probably going to be Morrow with the Bears.
Morrow, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about him. But yeah, I mean, Nakobe Dean is built to be a leader. I've seen it from his his whole career. It's what I was most excited about for him. So I have no doubt that he's going to be a stud. I really don't. And then you got your guys back at corner. The only place you really downgraded at all was safety, and that could change really easily if Sidney Brown turns out the way we semi expect him to.
I mean, going back to Hargrave, I just feel like I get nervous because I don't know if I guess Milton Williams will take first team reps if Jalen Carter doesn't. Like he's 11 sack like guy last year. Like I know it's easier with our D line. I just think at the drop off, I just get a little nervous about the drop off of like if like there's potential for obviously there's potential for Carter to be like better than Hargrave, but to even get to that level, like an all pro type level already, is asking a lot from a guy. Obviously, he's a ninth overall pick. Obviously, he should be. I just get a little nervous because I think that's their biggest downgrade, honestly, because
it might be.
Other than CJ, I think it might be just because you have that guy that's been there, like done it, and like he's at this high level. You have potential for higher, but it's the fluctuation that's what scared me. That's the only thing that scared me.
I can hear that and understand that, but my rebuttal to that point is that I think, not to downplay what Hargrave did last year, because he was a beast, and it's expecting a lot to expect Jalen Carter to be able to do the exact same thing. But a lot of Hargrave's success came from the fact that we also had such a dangerous D-line around him. Yeah. That we had Hassan Reddick getting pressure every play, that we had Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat getting in the backfield at almost every play. It's really easy to lose track of that D tackle in the middle when you've got these dangerous guys off the edge. And I think that a lot of his success came from the fact that, other people were taking double teams or, taking up a spot here or there or, just stuff like that. I think that, I don't want to say that I'm expecting Jalen Carter to get 11 sacks or anything, but it's very easy to look good when, there's a bunch of other studs around you taking up a lot of space too. And I think that that's also going to be a benefit to Jalen Carter in the way he plays. And I think he might even look a little bit better than we expect him to, like off the rip.
Dude, I completely forgot we had Joshua. I thought we lost him for some reason. I don't know why, but he had 11 sacks last year too. That man is a fucking king. I completely forgot we had him. We also have Derek Barnett for whatever reason. He's just there. He's just going to exist. Yeah, he's still there.
Really?
I think he's on his fifth there. Yeah. Just going to exist.
I didn't even know we had him. He was a terrible pick.
We didn't extend him, but he's still there. He'll probably go to the Cardinals or something.
Whatever.
Yeah, Josh Sweat. I completely forgot. That's awesome.
We've got a really great D line, and when you've got such a great D line, and you have to worry about every single player getting into the backfield, it just leaves a little more open room for that D tackle to slip in there and clean it up. So. All it takes is for those edge guys, say we've got Nolan Smith and Hassan Reddick on the edges, and they're quick upfield guys, so they're going to bend around the edge. They're going to close down the pocket. That's going to force the quarterback to step up in the pocket, of course. And then who's there to clean that up? The D tackle. So, this D line can put Jalen Carter in a really good position to stand out early and often. But it's all going to depend on him. I'm not going to just go out and say that he's going to be Javon Hargrave his first year.
And then another top pick last year. What do you think about Jordan Davis? And I know it's been quiet. I haven't heard anything crazy, good, bad in between. But do you think he can be? I know he's a run stuffer guy, but do you think he can be? What did we get him at 6?
No, I think we got him at 13th.
13. Do you think he could be that guy that he was supposed to be? He was supposed to be a type of prospect too in that draft, but fell. But what do you think about what he could do? I know you're a big Jordan Davis guy, so
yeah, absolutely. I think he can still be that guy. First of all, that's just a classic Philly mentality of he didn't play his first year, so all of a sudden he's irrelevant. he's been in the league for one damn year. Like, give it a second, man. Like, I think he's going to be a beast, and I know for a fact that he came out in his post OTA conference and said that he is more than aware of what the Eagles expect of him. They've made it clear that they expect a lot more out of him in this upcoming season. And according to him, he is more than prepared to step up to the plate and be able to handle these expectations. And to me, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can go off of with that, but it's a good start. He knows what's expected. He knows he's expected to step up and be that guy that everyone was, wanted out of him. And, and he's probably also aware that in a place like Philadelphia, if he has another shitty year, he might start, falling out of favor quickly. So Philadelphia is not exactly a forgiving city. So
in a year we break our franchise sack record and almost break the Bears record of 72. We still find problems with our freaking D-line, which is just
there's no such thing as leaving every Philly fan pleased. Nobody's going home happy all the time. It's just
don't win a Super Bowl.
It's just how Philadelphia is. We're passionate, but we're a little silly sometimes too.
It's brutal.
But I expect big things out of him this year. I think there's a pretty decent chance. I don't know. I was going to say that you might see him on the field more often than you see Jalen Carter. But I think that they're really just going to use them in situational play. I think Jalen Carter is going to be more of a pass rush guy, and I think that Jordan Davis is going to be more of a run stuff guy. And obviously they're both going to be in situations where they can do both. They can't just be one side or the other. But
yeah,
I think you'll see. In general, I think you'll see Jordan Davis on the field more often than Jalen Carter if he stays healthy again. He was a big guy with an ankle injury. It's not easy to play on at 375 pounds. Yeah. So I wasn't surprised for how long he was out last year, nor am I worried about it because a sprained ankle is not super serious. It's just not something that a 375-pound man can try to play through. So, I still have very high expectations for him, and these are some of the reasons that I kind of think that this team might even be better than last year's. And I think the biggest thing I'm excited for this season is that they threw out the excuses. There's no more excuses. We have the hardest schedule in the league this year. I want to see how this team plays, man. I still have no reason to think that we shouldn't be a 12-4 or a 13-3 team. Or I suppose there's 17 games now. Sorry, but you can do the math. Whatever. But there's no reason we shouldn't be a 12 or 13 win team still.
Our schedule's so hard, and we'll get into that in another episode. But just like looking at it, just to open up the season, you're like, oh, you're going to Foxborough. Okay, that sucks, right? Oh, they're retiring Brady's number that day. Oh, that's great. Like the average, like that place could be rocking to the brim. The average ticket, the ticket sales are like insane to get a ticket. I think the cheapest I saw it was a weird price. I was like, how? Like, oh, there's Brady's number getting retired. It's gonna be like everyone's just gonna be that much more hype. It's like, oh, that's your first game, by the way. That's just a start. And then you play like the middle of it, just like bam, 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 bam. I know we're able to take it, and I know it's like just a summary. I'm not even gonna put my prediction or anything. I know we're gonna be able to take it. It's gonna be brutal. It's gonna be hard.
I'll put it to you this way: when I looked at the league last year, regardless of our schedule, when I looked at every team up and down, I saw about 3 or 4 teams, maybe 5, that were even capable of beating us at all. Right? Now, fast forward to this season, I don't feel any different, regardless of the schedule. Granted, I don't think it's going to look as dominant as it did last year. We're going to be in closer games. It's going to be harder. It's going to be more fought out. But when I look at the schedule and I look at team to team, I look at the rosters, I still say the same thing that I did last year. And I say, outside of like 2 or 3 teams, we should beat them. So I'm not worried about the schedule this year. And like I said, if anything, I'm excited to see how this team handles it.
I am too. No, I'd rather have a hard schedule, honestly. I mean, how could you not? Like, then you get to play. You get
I
to
was
play
so
everyone.
sick. I was so sick of hearing the excuses last year. There was an excuse for everything we did, and anyone with eyes that watch football could have just told you they were playing really good freaking football.
Hey, Matt, why are the Niners fans still talking about a game that we won?
They'll never. That's going to be like a generational thing now, dude. That's not going away anytime soon.
I don't get it. Like, as an Eagles fan, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, right? Could you imagine like complaining, like even like the week before the Super Bowl, you're like, oh, like the team sucks, we should be in it. They're still talking about it. I don't know if it's like a meme. I swear, I'm like, huh, like
It's
that's
happened to
like
the
fun.
Eagles before. We went to the championship with Jeff Garcia. You know, we
We won
walked into the
for
playoffs with Josh McCown. You don't see us sitting over here crying about it every
come
single
on.
day of the week. Granted, we will still bring it up every once in a while and you know, get all angry about it, but still.
I mean, yeah, but like, I don't know what you want.
It's the level of entitlement that they feel that they're just like they are just like they put it in a way that they're just like, oh yeah, it wouldn't have even been a close game. It would have been the opposite score. We would have won 31-10. Like, no. It didn't matter who you had on that field. They weren't the better team in general, let alone the fact that that's just part of the game. Like, you know, what do you want to do? Like, I don't know what to tell you about it. Like, the game is the game. You could say, you know, a million things. Yeah, if we had scored 30 more points, it would have been a lot closer. Like, sure, man, you're right. Like, I don't know what you want.
Yeah.
So they just really just need to get over themselves.
13. All right. Well, we're not going to too much of the schedule. That's a little draft recap for you.
Yeah, we're gonna need to save some topics of conversation for some other weeks coming up.
Sorry.
This season's coming up quick though, you know. It feels like it's still a long way away, but you know, by the end of July, they're gonna start jumping into preseason, and all of a sudden, you know, come September, it's gonna be right back into game time. So, you know, we got about 2 more months of getting ready here, and then we're gonna be jumping back into the season.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited. Excited to take this journey again down Payne Road.
Yeah, man, I you know, as much as I'd love to be the classic Philly fan talking about Payne, they have, you know, even based off last year and losing the Super Bowl, they have done nothing but, you know, they're out of every Philly sport, especially, they're the only team that has been giving me pure joy, regardless of everything. Because even in that Super Bowl, you know, we played our hearts out, and we unfortunately made one or two mistakes more than the other team. It screwed us in the end. You know, it was a close, hard-fought game. It wasn't a BS game. It wasn't like something was like corny. Like it was like, you know, it just happened that way. And I'm you know, I have no reason to think that they're not going to keep getting better from here on out. So I'm excited for this year and years to come. And I know I'm not excited about the Sixers. Definitely not excited about them. Not excited. Phillies are starting to pick it up. It's June, so you know maybe they'll go on their little June run. And then you know the Flyers are, you know, nobody's talking about them. So you know we've got our boys to enjoy for a while. Pause. But you know we've got the squad to, you know, to indulge in. These guys are good, man. I'm excited.
The Phillies want to make me claw my eyes out. The
Yeah,
Flyers
you
are
know.
selling their entire team right now. Like, I hope Danny Bear trades everyone. And the Sixers aren't real, man. They're not a real team. Joel Embiid doesn't exist. Like, Jokic is the MVP, and no one else is real. He's not real.
The Sixers are like an NPC on the way to the for a main character team on the way to their finals.
Yeah, like you have to get past that team like every year in the second round. Like, yeah. You got to do it. Like,
it really is crazy. They do the same thing every year. But we're not going to dive. We're not going to dive too much into that. That's Sean's coverage there. He's got that covered.
Go check out what's his podcast name. I'm so bad, but you'll see it on our page. Yeah, he our Sixers talk. But
plenty of
anyway,
Sixers content to go through. But
anyway,
thank you for tuning in.
A little off topic.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. It's been a fun episode. It's been a while. We're excited to be back, and we're gonna make sure we're getting more content out to you guys, ready and often. So make sure you're keeping tuned in. Check in. We're back. We're officially getting revved up for season. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. It's been fun. I'm your host, Matt Mitchell. This is Stephen Masley, and we will see you guys soon. Go Birds.
Sure.